Hello everybody, welcome back to Mining Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler and this is Fraying Sanity Mill. So you've seen Mill in Modern before. It's gone 9-0 at day one of a GP a few years ago. It was real memorable. It's a thing, it's a deck, it's a pretty fun deck. But this Hour of Devastation card really kind of puts it over the top a little bit. At the beginning of each instep, enchanted player, we're going to enchant them. They put the top X cards of their library into their graveyard, where X is the number of cards that were put into their graveyard from anywhere this turn. So what that means is it's not just that we mill them. It's when they crack a chromatic star, for instance. That means they put that many cards into their graveyard. So it's, in this case, one, but it adds up, right? And it gets their fetch lands. It gets their removal spells, everything. But also, two of them doubles it. That's how this works, the way they trigger. So this is going to be pretty good. We have a pretty solid hand here. Now, that said, our opponent has turn 3 Tron because they always have turn 3 Tron. So all that said, we're probably just dead anyways, but, you know, we're going to give it the best shot we can here. Had we been on the play, I think we might have just steamrolled here, but when we get turn 3 Karn, because Tron always has turn 3 Karn, we're going to be in trouble. Field of Ruin. Yeah, don't you love it when you draw your Tron hate and it's turn 2 and you just know you're dead anyways? To be fair, I don't know we're dead, so we'll see. I'm going to try not to salt off here. Trust me, I can go salty forever against Tron, but we'll see. Hope maybe they just don't have it. Sometimes they don't have it. Not very often, but sometimes they don't have it. Alright, we do get a mill our opponent for quite a bit here. We might theoretically even have a turn 4 kill for what it's worth. If we don't just die on turn 3, but we can go Fraying Sanity here and the turn after that Mind Funeral them and then double it with the Fraying Sanity. Pretty good. Although what's... oh, okay. Warm Coil. Okay, well, you know what? That's one of the more beatable cards, actually. If that's their payoff, we have a shot, because we can even chump block that down the line if we need to. And I can take them off Tron here, but I'm not going to. Because if that was their payoff, I mean, their next payoff could be Ugin, I suppose, and that would kill us. So maybe I'm supposed to. The problem is we just do nothing if we do that. So basically, do we think they have Ugin? You know, we still get to mill them for 6 this turn with the Field of Ruin. I think I Field of Ruin. We might be able to just mill enough with this Hedron Crab that we don't have to, you know, really pop off with the Fraying Sanities or Mind Funerals. All right, let's see here. There's 2 towers in the graveyard and 2 mines. So I don't think it matters here which one we go after, which means you go after the mine. For what it's worth, we also have, you know, Darkness as a draw in our deck. That is a 4 of in our deck here, so... I already hit the power plant that time around. Alright, so... now they don't have Tron. I think this was the right decision. I think we have a shot of winning the game with this line, even if it's not the optimal, right? If they have Ugin, though, we can't win the game. So I think that this is correct. So our opponent has... okay, they don't have enough mana to crack this. So this is actually... it's looking okay here for us, I would say. Fortunately, their life does not matter. So I can Fraying Sanity or Mind Funeral them. I think the first thing we do is mill. Hit a couple Karns there and a Ghost Quarter. So Fraying Sanity hit them for 6. Yeah, I think that's what we do because we don't die to Worm Coil, so... we'll just Fraying Sanity. Alright, I think this line is going to work. We can even chump block if we need to. Wow, I think... actually, we're going to beat turn 3 Tron, perhaps, here. Our opponent has 12 cards left in their library, so that's pretty good for us. Now, the question is, do they have an Urza's Mine available? Obviously, they do. right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they preserved Tron. That said, it's only 7 mana, and they can Karn our Fraying Sanity away. Oblivion Stone. Well, that's pretty good. Unfortunately for them, they don't have enough mana. That, friends, is why you leave them the Urza's Tower and go after the other lands. Because in this case, they put a fate counter on this, sure. Yeah, it actually paid off really well there because in this case, they had to spend their mana to go get Tron, to finish Tron with that expedition map. And if that last piece had been a tower instead of a mine, then they would have made 5 mana and they could have blown everything. Now, it probably still would have won with this mine funeral, but, you know, that's kind of beside the point, right? Wow, okay, we got there. That was stressful. If it had been Karn, we were obviously dead. Wonder if they had Ugin. All right, on to sideboard here, where we actually have surprisingly decent, I guess I say decent. We have these, right? We can get rid of the darknesses and bring in the surgical extractions, and I'm pretty sure this is the correct thing to do here. Crypt Incursion, not good enough. Set Adrift. We could play one. And these Fatal Pushes do actual nothing, so maybe we actually want a couple darknesses in. And a set of drifts are okay. We'll give this one a shot. I don't know what our opponent would have. It's not like many people have a sideboard against Mill. And it's kind of a hard deck to hate out. I mean, our plan is just to cast instants or sorceries. The number one, for sure, hardest card for us to beat is Leyline of Sanctity. But this is actually pretty decent. We can mill our opponent's Tron lands and then Surgical and keep them off Tron forever just by exiling all of them. We get access to a couple set of drifts here in case, you know, there's a wild Karn or something that isn't just killing us on turn 3. And, you know, you can hit an Ugin or Warm Coil or something to buy yourself time. Yeah, I think I took the right line last game. It was not an easy decision because you kind of want to... The thing with Fraying Sanity is it's a card that you have to have in play before you do the other things in order to actually get the real payoff from it. So it's really counterintuitive to do something that isn't play that, right? But in that case, I think it was correct because, you know, as demonstrated there, we can beat the non-Ugin hand without playing that, right? It was close, obviously, but we did it. Whereas we absolutely cannot beat the Ugin next turn hand, even if we have that in play, right? So that was correct. Wasn't easy, but it was correct. This hand, by the way, pretty decent. Basically, let's just hope our opponent doesn't have turn 2 Tron, or turn 3 Tron, rather. And even if they do, maybe we get to mill the piece that they put into their hand. Cool. All right, well, let's hope that we mill a mine with this Glimpse of the Unthinkable. All right, beat turn 3 Tron once. See if we can do it again. Ooh, that's a nice one on the instep. All right, now we're talking. Wow, that was pretty fortunate if we're being honest here. Getting that while they search their library in their instep. Now, we can't actually take them off it, right? Because this is... Oh, no, it works. Yeah, now we're gonna mill them for 10 with this. And now we're gonna Surgical this Urza's Mine. That's why you play Surgical Extraction. I said we had a board for this matchup, and there you go. They were gonna have turn 3 Tron, and it would have been another Warm Quill, but now they do not. All right, got to make sure you get the ones in their graveyard. All right, so after that, our opponent is going to have... They have cards. So they have Nature's Claim for the Mesmeric Orb. That's good for us to know, right? We want to plan around that a little bit. They have a World Breaker here. They can get to mana the hard way. Okay. Well, that was all pretty good for us. Game's not over. They have the Nature's Claim for the Mesmeric Orb, and after that, all we have is Mind Funeral. They are down to 26 cards in their library already, so it's not going to take much to finish them off, but it is not technically over. Pretty fun modern game, right? Here it is, turn 2. We were going to be staring down at turn 3 Tron, and instead our opponent is out half their library and their Tron ability to ever have Tron. Alright. I guess I could just play the Field of Ruin. There's no reason not to. Do I Mind Funeral, or do I Mesmeric Orb while it is guaranteed to get some cards? It may be a little counterintuitive. I actually think I just play the Mesmeric Orb here. Because it gets 3 cards now. Next turn, I mean, probably not, but there is a world where they have green mana open and it gets 0 cards because its nature's claimed in the end step. We may as well do this now. Also, if they go searching lands out of their deck for whatever reason, the Mind Funeral becomes slightly better. Yep, as expected. There you go. So at least we got 3 cards out of it that way. If they just played the second Forest there in Ancient Stirrings, but then not use that green mana, and we tried to play it next turn because it was more mana efficient, which is sort of what you would typically want to do, that wouldn't have worked out for us. We wouldn't have got any cards from them. But now, I think we pretty much just win. Hedron Crab here, plus this fetch land, probably enough to finish it off since it's getting followed up by this Mind Funeral. I mean, this alone puts him down to 14. This Mind Funeral likely just finished him off immediately. Assuming, of course, it's a Warping Wail, which it's not. Actual all 14 into the graveyard. That's a turn 4 win, right? Yeah, that was a turn 4 win with blue-black mill while our opponent was going to have turn 3 Tron. That was pretty sweet. That was a clinic. If I say so myself. This deck is fun. At 5-0 to Magic Online League. It has some, it's nice. It's got Field of Ruin is a big game for this deck, as is obviously Fraying Sanity, but also just not having to take so much damage. It's not Esper, doesn't mess around with white cards. Fraying Sanity is great. Fatal Push and Darkness actually work because they are good against your good matchups. And they do work with Fraying Sanity, at least Fatal Push does. So, and Darkness works with Mesmeric Orb because it means they're going to attack and you're going to fog their creatures and they're going to untap a bunch and mill. So there you go. That was fun. That was awesome. I like this deck. Blue-black Fraying Sanity mill, everybody. This is Mighty Modern. I'm Corbin Hostler. Thank you for watching.